So as you guys might know by now, I've spent the last 30 years of my career in and around movie studios. Because of that background, writers ask me a lot, what really happens when my agent or my producer submits my script to the studio? The answer is complicated and maybe even a little bit scary, but I'm going to try to shed a little bit of light on it today. So let's get to it. So the first thing that happens is that your agent's going to send out your script, they're going to start calling studio executives, and they're going to try to get people really excited about it. They're a good agent, they're going to pitch it like it's the next big thing, they're going to get people riled up, and studio execs are going to read it. And they're going to read it because everybody is always looking for the next great piece of material. The executive agrees to read the script goes into the studio, but they don't read it. Not yet. Because the first thing that they do is they send it to the story department to get coverage. They're going to do one of three things: give it a pass, a consider, or a recommend. And those recommendations are going to largely determine the fate of your script. So obviously, the thing you don't want is a pass. And by the way, both the script and the writer are going to get rated. So you can get a double pass on your script, pass on the script and pass on the writer. That's probably the end of you at the studio at that point, right? Your script's done. If you get a double pass, it's going to be really difficult to get some play. It's going to be difficult to even get the executive to read it. On the other far end of the spectrum is the double recommend, right? Recommend script, recommend writer. That is an exceptionally rare thing. I've seen that maybe, 10 times in my career. And it basically is a story analyst saying to an executive, drop everything you're doing, read this script right now. This is a movie that this studio should make. So what typically happens more often than not is your script gets some level of, maybe it's consider, sometimes I'll do it like a consider with reservation, something like that. But what you hope is that it's enough to get the studio executive to read the script. So that's the next inflection point, is you've got to get the story analyst to read it and like it, and you got to get the executive to read it and like it. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this executive doesn't pass, that they really like it. So what happens now? Well, now it's time to get some reads from some other executives who work at the studio. And that's typically going to happen at a meeting. We used to call it weekend read. You would meet on a Friday, everybody would talk about the scripts they were reading, and you would try to get some other executives to read the script to weigh in on it. As an executive, you're trying to build some kind of consensus over whether this script is good, whether it's something we might make at the studio or not. So everybody goes home for the weekend, they come back on Monday, and now it's time for everybody to weigh in and say what they think of the script. Okay, so next inflection point. More than likely at this point, again, you're going to get a pass. And the pass might be for reasons that have nothing to do with your script, right? Sometimes it's as simple as there's a competing project in another studio that the executive didn't know about. Or sometimes it just doesn't fit the mandate, right?